Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Esports Talk Show. My name is Campbell. I'm the host. Joining alongside me, though, is the wonderful Paradox.
Without my
and
glasses this week.
Oh, without your glasses this week.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know.
See, I wish I could. I wish I could see that, but
Yeah.
we're having set up today.
I can see you with glasses on, bro. I'm not lying.
Yeah, we can see a picture of you looking fine in your suit, all boosted at Call of Duty Champs there. But nope. Why are there no glasses? Just out of interest, Paradox.
I left them in my room.
See, there was me.
In my room, which is next door. So,
There was me
yeah.
expecting some insane story how
Oh no.
there were 6 guys. It was just you, by yourself. Big fight.
Well,
When it depends how the mind of the human being thinks in this situation. I would have to say,
there was 6 guys. There was me, 6 guys. Glasses were left.
My glasses have gone missing. My jumper's off. Oh god. I'm here in just my boxers, but no, Paradox is here with us. What type of jersey are you rocking? Oh, the face jumper.
Hoodie. Come on, they clutched up. Come on, I cannot in good faith not wear this week, knowing how massive.
Only because you don't own an Evil Geniuses one, is that correct?
I would have actually worn an Evil Geniuses shirt, or
exactly.
if I had one, yeah.
Yeah, if you'd had one. Well, wearing the same jersey as he wears every single week, representing Bulldog, it's our man Tony from Bulldog. How are you doing, Tony?
I'm good, mate. I think our cameras are frozen on the stream, like.
Oh no.
Oh, they have. Look at us. We look so beautiful.
Yeah, it's not looking good, mate.
Oh no.
See,
okay.
you've got your eyes closed in yours. You're looking beautiful in yours, Tony. Have you fallen asleep in the Esports Talk Show already? Does my voice bore you that much?
But I don't want to say that, but.
You don't want to agree.
I thought that too. I was like, wait, Tony looks like he's sleeping. But no, alright. Cool.
I think hopefully the cameras.
All the problems are like on me this week, just so everyone knows. So.
Oh really? You don't have to blame yourself for everything, Paradox. It's only 99.9% of this stuff. Like, come on. Don't be too harsh upon yourself. But anyway, guys, what is it we're talking about today? Well, we've got the Global Pro League to recap. Obviously, that was FaZe, Fnatic, Evil Geniuses, and Tony, stop pulling a face. I will get the final team coming in a second. I'll press this button over here.
You really don't know?
Yeah, I do know. I'm just testing you. FaZe, EG, Fnatic, and who was the last team? Why don't I remember?
Come on. Rise, man. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not the end of the start of the year, so I don't know who Rise are.
Oh.
So, well, you know how it is.
Is it like there weren't enough people talking about it, like that fucking group over the last week? You know what I mean? Like,
no. What?
It was pretty big news. Everything that was going on there.
Once it started, everyone was talking about it. Before that, everyone seemed to have FaZe locked as first, including me. And I feel like we were all on the same page with that. And yeah, that kind of didn't happen.
No, not at all. But what did happen in the Global Pro League, though, in that group blue, though, Paradox, we saw Evil Geniuses. Out of nowhere, I would say, we was kind of talking about when we were doing our predictions, was Evil Geniuses kind of like that Cloud9 roster. They had to be the team that really had to step up, take this with both hands, and, well, they did exactly that. So, Paradox, you got the chance to watch it. We all got the chance to watch it and tune in, but what was it you saw from this Evil Geniuses roster? Why did they look like they just wanted it more than everybody else?
I mean, this is a team that looks like when their backs are against the wall, I don't know what happens, but they turn onto something else. They beat FaZe both times, so they won the head-to-head matchup versus FaZe. I don't know if it's maybe a playstyle thing that goes with them, but it seems like when they have to actually step up, something just clicks with them. I know they had a change in their playstyle from day 1 to day 2. They went 0-2 on day 1. Nameless switches over from an NV4 to a K-Bar, so they sort of fall into a more traditional setup. Nameless actually played hands down fantastic throughout the entire weekend. I was kind of getting irritated because everyone's saying, oh, Nameless is wheeling because Anthony Wheeler, Nameless, but I'm like, come on, just... It's a thing now. Let's just let it die down a little bit. We don't have to say it every time. But yeah, Nameless did absolutely fantastic over the weekend.
Oh, I just hate Tony and his product placement.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate.
Tony's product placement, just a casual drop of the Xgamer logo. Then the dips. Then just carries on doing what he's usually doing. But no, I think it was great to see Study as well. I don't know if you guys managed to get the chance to see Study's interview after they had qualified in the top 3. Obviously, his mother, if you don't realise, passed away earlier on in the year. And, he felt like that his mum would have been extremely proud of whereabouts he is. And you know what? When Courage was explaining the situation to him and how much money he's basically just made it close enough to guaranteeing for himself. Obviously, if he turns up, like 200 grand, 500 grand, 700 grand, then a 2.3 million tournament. So many tournaments to qualify. He said it was the best moment in his career, one of the highlight moments in his career, and it's crazy for me, Paradox. This roster just for me just does not look like it should be absolutely world dominant, beating the likes of FaZe and the top dogs. I think it's a quality roster, but it seems to be that it's just 4 players that were always that like kind of fourth man. I think on all the rosters, they weren't never the 4 players that were the absolute, focal points of the team, the absolute slayers. But no, I mean, like take a look at Havoc, for example, on Evil Geniuses. That guy has been grinding more than anybody. He plays so many tournaments, he plays so many scrims, and he's playing with his team on as well. So congratulations to them. But let's talk about who actually ended up becoming what looked like an underdog at one point, and that was FaZe. FaZe definitely looked confident in this one. They said on the hot mic, it was attached, they got the chance to speak to, and he said, look, we're going into this with confidence, and we're going to end up most likely topping the group 4-0. Didn't end up happening like that at all, Tony. FaZe looked a little bit shaky in that one. I mean, from what you saw, though, are they lucky to be in the spot that they got? Should they have been the team that finished out in 4th?
Mate, I reckon that group was amazing. Like, if you want like a sort of showcase for why what they're doing this year is a good idea, I think that group then was it. You know what I mean? Because everyone, including me, they probably done my bets and everything. Like, I thought everyone thought FaZe was going to top it, and they just didn't. You know what I mean? Like, Rise are unbelievable. Like, it just everything went on his head, mate. And maybe they was complacent. Maybe, you know what I mean? You've got to practice hard, like, because hard work will beat talent if talent don't work hard. And maybe that was the case. You know what I mean? They've been sitting pretty. They've been doing well. They thought, look, we've got this. Let's just go into it as we normally go into it, and they got bummed.
Do you think that FaZe kind of went into this then? Let's take a look at some of the teams they were coming up against as easy opponents.
Yeah, I really think they did. I mean, you can understand it. Everyone thought it. You know what I mean? Yeah, the people in FaZe's fault. Everybody thought it. You know what I mean? Everyone thought, right, even, you know what I mean, I'm pretty biased. And even I thought deep down they was going to top the group. You know what I mean? So you can almost, you can almost excuse if that's what's happened. You know what I mean? Because everyone thought it and the others were just hungrier.
Yeah.
And it showed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of teams as well we've seen in this year are starting to get a bit complacent when they feel like they're already secured for COD champs, and they've already secured for, these bigger tournaments. You take a look at Splice at I-60 versus Epsilon. Epsilon ended up coming out on top in that one. You take a look at Mind Freak when they went up against Cloud9. It feels like Mind Freak wanted it more. You take a look in this group with FaZe who feel like they were secured, almost lost their spot as well. So what it feels like going into this one is there's a lot of big teams that are kind of going in with high confidence that they were already going to have that spot. They know they only need to finish 1 to 3, and it shouldn't be too difficult. But in that situation, it really did come down to that battle towards the end. And the only problem, really, for why FaZe, the only benefit I should say why FaZe made it was because Fnatic slowed down. Now we need to talk about Fnatic, and they've made themselves into, they're joining Cloud9 in the relegation zone, and it just feels so gutting because that organization and that team of players, for me, every single event we've spoken about it has got better and better. And you thought going into this that they didn't have the hardest group. It wasn't like they had some massive teams. Yes, they had FaZe, but they didn't have the hardest group. They had Rise, a team that's looked complacent throughout the entire year, apart from the first event. And you got.
I think the thing was right.
Qualified.
Everyone but Fnatic turned up. Right, that was the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, not Fnatic, FaZe as well. Like, so the teams you didn't think were going to turn up, and the teams you thought were gonna didn't do as well. You know what I mean? Like, Buskins played really well.
Yeah.
I think he had a good tournament. His S&D's unreal. Like, he's got to be one of the best S&D players in the game at the moment.
Weekend, man. Like.
Yeah.
Some of the little things that would hurt them here and there, and I know
the team kills and all that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I think one of the rough things to watch as well was how good Tommy was. Like, Tommy's a legend, and he's a player that's been dominating in the colleges you've seen in Europe for a very long time. And if you were to take a look at that roster on paper, and somebody was to say to you, who's going to have a bad performance, 99.9% of the time you would never say it would be Tommy, but he just struggled that weekend in the respawn game modes. He put his hand up and he said, look, I'm just not carrying my weight with my team. And in a way, that just proves how much this roster can be in terms of strength. If your best, well, not best bet, but if one of your players, Tommy, who is an absolute legend, is the reason why you're winning your respawns, can you imagine what this team would do when Tommy is absolutely on point?
Like I said, they was unlucky about stuff, and Tommy wasn't playing well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, if things could have, and it's you got to think on the mental effect as well. Like when you're getting close and little team kills and that, like the phase game, you know what I mean? Like it's got to take its toll on you. Like,
But
you know what I mean? You've got to start thinking this ain't my weekend.
You've got to think to yourself, imagine how annoying it would be as a pro team that's been grinding through every event to get pro points, to get themselves finally into Season 1, and now they have to fight a team in Season 2 for the relegations. Like, I mean, it just seems to me like a massive, massive setback for the team. This team's done so well, and now they've been pushed back to this.
Be all right.
I think they will.
Relegation,
I don't think this team is a team that will lose in relegations. But you've also got to think to yourself, for the organisation Fnatic, this is big because they're not an organisation that's ever ended up anywhere down in any form of relegations. They're always a top dog organisation with top dog teams, and it did look like Fnatic, when at the very start when they were first picked up, was said, "Oh, will you live up to the Fnatic ways?" And it looked like they were, and now there's a setback. But I think, I still agree with you,
I think it's just an event. I just think it was one bad weekend.
One bad weekend, yeah.
I think
things just went against them. Like I said, if that was this weekend, it would be totally different. It was just, like I said, Tommy didn't have his best weekend, and stuff just went like that kill in the hard point. You know what I mean? When it come off of the team killed a grenade and that, like you couldn't make that happen again. You know what I mean? Like. You should have seen me. This is no word of a lie. I was in bed watching that, right? I was lying. I'm not even joking. Like the wife's next to me. I'm lying in bed, looking like I don't know, Ricky Gervais or something. And I've got it on, and I'm literally I'm sitting there like this, going, "Please let them win. Please let them win. Please let them." Rocking backwards and forwards, mate. I couldn't. The excitement and that game brought me was unreal. Like I don't think a game of COD has excited me as much as that did. Probably because of our feel towards the brothers and that. But yeah, it was unreal. Like.
Well, it was crazy. I mean, day one finishes with all the teams on the exact same score, 2-2. Going into it, obviously, only map count really deciding between the teams and whereabouts they were sitting on the group. And then, it just proves every team turned up and Fnatic ended up losing both their games on that Sunday. So, unfortunate for them, they ended up falling into relegations. And they joined Cloud9. So, we have our two teams in the relegations area that will be battling to secure their spot for Season 2. But we need to find out who the third team joining in relegation will be, and that's going to be the following topic of conversation because we're moving on into the next group, and it is going to be that group yellow. And we have another European team participating in this one, and it's going to be Millennium. Now, if you guys didn't get the chance to see the Millennium video that was posted before they got ready for this group, it was absolutely insane. It had a little bit of seriousness towards the start, and then all of a sudden, Marky B rocks up looking like a toy soldier, and he starts talking about how him and his team are going to push through. Now, the last time I saw anything similar to this, all I could think was Movie Star Riders. That's the only thing I could ever think the last time I saw a video like this. Remember the Epsilon video, Tony? When Epsilon was announced? Roster. That one was cheesy. So I don't know what's going on at the minute. It seems to be that cheesy is the new way of social media to be able to expose your team and kind of promote them. But anyway,
if we get to champs, I've already been talking about what we're going to do.
Okay.
Right? We're sitting in a position where hopefully we're going to make the G-Fin qualifiers. Right, so in our little management chat at Bordeaux, I've already started discussing a video that we're going to do.
Okay. I can't let anything this. All right, we need you guys
it'll be worth us going. I know, yeah. I've already got ideas and everything.
As long as you promise me, Tony, that if there is a voiceover commentary, I can give it a kick.
Would you like it? All right, you can do it. You can do the voiceover commentary.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Esports.
You've got a voice for radio anyway. Face for radio.
I got the face for radio there. That's very true. Away from cameras before I break something. But anyway, let's take a look at this group yellow then. So it's going to be Millennium as our European team participating in this one, and Epsilon also. So we've got a double European team in this one. Then you got E United, a team that at the very, very start of Infinite Warfare really shocked everybody and took the likes of Optic down, took the likes of FaZe down, took the likes of Envious down. So a team that really we haven't seen be that big dog, but there's definitely possibility for them to do that exact same thing here again. And then you take a look at another team, Luminosity thrown into this one. Luminosity, a team that SWC didn't have their full roster and so therefore didn't look quite strong, but when their full roster was back, that team can cause so many problems. Some great individuals on there, the likes of Slacked, the likes of Octane, players that can just change the way that this one goes down. Now, let's start and take a look at Epsilon, a team that's just recently beaten Splice 2-0 in the grand finals with a 6-0 full map sweep. Going into this one, that's going to be a confidence booster for me. I think this team now will definitely be sitting in a position where they look like a strong roster. You got the likes of B-Sport Josh in there as well, talented player. Reminds me of the whole Tommy with Fnatic thing, but I expect Josh to be that player that will go off this weekend, will help these guys that are less experienced in these big moments to get through. Now for you then, I'm going to have to go over to you and we'll start off immediately with the predictions for this one. I just want a first to fourth, how this group's going to go down between these 4 teams. So starting with first place, then going on to fourth place, Paradox, how's this one finishing for you?
I'm saying, oh jeez, because Epsilon is coming off of that hot streak, right? I say United's your number 1, 100%. I don't feel like we'll have the same thing with FaZe where everyone has a team locked in first and then something happens. United clear top 2 team in the world, flip back first and second with Optic, right? So 100% they're your number 1. Number 2, I feel like Luminosity is there because of their slang, right? You can make the argument at least top 5 in the world for this team. The only thing that even top 4, I know some people have them there. I feel like Splice is in that 4th spot, but that's an argument for another day. The only thing that hurts Luminosity is their search and destroy. If they can actually pick up games in search and destroy, they might actually be able to walk out with number 1. Millennium and Epsilon, I feel like actually is a toss-up since Epsilon have the hot hands coming into this. Actually, no. You know what? No. Millennium's already there. Millennium got there early. They've already been there for a week. Epsilon's going to be at the bottom.
Interesting then. Okay then.
I don't know, man.
So you're calling E United to take it, spot number 1.
I'm playing
and it will be Epsilon. It will be Epsilon joining them in the relegation zone. So your prediction is locked in, Paradox. Tony, 1 to 4.
I reckon E United are going to come first. I just think they're the second best team at the moment after Optic. I'm going to go Epsilon. Right?
Ooh.
Okay.
Because I honestly, the fact that they won that, to me, made a big difference. I've said loads of times I think David, that's all good, and I think the squad was good.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that bit of experience and who it is, you know what I mean, and his ability, and I think it's going to be good for him as well. He's got something to prove. And I just think they're going to do well, I really do. So they're going to be second, and then I don't know out of Luminosity and Millennium, to be honest. I'm going to say Luminosity third and then Millennium fourth, although I don't want that because
that's a crazy thing, isn't it? I mean, that's where you take a look at that group, and when you have to put a team like Millennium in the relegation,
exactly,
it proves how.
I just think Epsilon, their confidence is going to be higher.
That's something
I don't
like. You can't see Millennium. Unfortunately, they might actually finish 4th here.
There's every possibility of that.
Though, that team is the team, from speaking to people, that the EU teams find it hardest to play against. So when they're playing against each other, Millennium team is the one that generally does well, normally, against teams that they prefer not to play against them. So they might beat Epsilon. I just think that, like I said, Epsilon's coming off of playing really well. The confidence is going to be high. They all of a sudden appeared, you know what I mean? And honestly, I think that they're going to smash it this ring. In my mind, back in my mind, I'm even thinking they could pick first if everything works, because no one's going to, until the change, no one would really have thought they were going to be up there with it. So people might not be prepared. So, but I definitely think they're going to come second. I'm always wrong though, so don't worry.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to throw my prediction out there, and I'm going to kind of stick with what I've been seeing so far between the rest of the 2 groups. So for first place, I'm going to go Luminosity. Second place, I'm going to go E United. In third place, I'm going to go Millennium. And then falling out in fourth place, I'm going to go Epsilon. Now, the reasoning behind this is Luminosity, for me, I feel like is a massive, strong roster. Really, really strong. For me, it depends on how they perform this weekend. I do feel like E United may go into this one with a little bit too much confidence. It's kind of what we've seen so far happening. And then Luminosity may snake that final spot, but it may go down to map count. I don't think it'll be because they go through on the points. I think it might be the map count they get that first place on. United definitely second, one of the best teams in the American region and in the world, really, you could say. For me, Millennium over Epsilon. Millennium are the better team against American teams, and they've proven that at the past 3 events. So in terms of placements from Europe, Millennium, remember, ESWC, highest placing team. And you also had before that as well, I think it was Dallas, one of those 2 events.
That's before this Epsilon roster was together, though.
It was before the Epsilon roster. I think that's true, but I just think that in terms of the Millennium roster compared to the Epsilon roster, apart from Josh, everybody on Millennium's been in this situation before. And they haven't on Epsilon. I know that Josh has the capability and he has the power to take this roster through and say, look, and get them in line for them to be able to do this. I just don't think Epsilon, yes, they came off a great win against Splice, but I don't think Splice were putting 100% down on that pedal. I don't want to take anything away from Epsilon. I just think that Epsilon is still a great roster, but they're the team that's going to happen to be fight their way through relegations. That's how I think it's going to go. I think Luminosity may surprise us and take that top spot. But that's how our predictions go. Anyway, guys, let us know in the chat if you're watching what you think your predictions for this group is from 1 through to 4. Now, I kind of have to pick out the hard question for you here, Paradox. I mean, who's the underdog? Is it Epsilon? Is it Millennium? Luminosity? Who's the underdog in this group?
The underdog in this group, I feel like Epsilon, because United and Luminosity stacked teams already. Everyone knows pretty much what they can do. You have Millennium, as we've already talked about, international experience. Everyone expects this team to do well, especially with them coming over early, boot camping a little bit. It's the Epsilon story of sort of how United was a little bit. It's like, okay, this team had this really good showing. Can they do it again? And the second time is always harder. So I feel like Epsilon is your underdog here.
Yeah,
Agree, Tony?
Yeah, I think they are the underdog. Like I said, the only reason I'm backing them is because I think that when they made the change, I thought it was going to be really good for them. And then they went out and smashed I-60. So it sort of confirmed what I thought was going to... Well, I didn't even think it was going to be that good for them, you know what I mean? But it's better than I thought it would be. But yeah, they are the underdog. I don't think anyone really... The thing is, they don't deserve not to be the underdog. Not being horrible, but Millennium's got more pedigree. All the other teams have got more pedigree there. They've all done more. Like you said, they've had better placings, all of them. You know what I mean? Although I think they're going to do better, they are the underdog. Right?
Yeah, and this is the thing, and this is what we have to go off when we wait for these shows to kick off. We have to go off what we've previously seen throughout the year. And yes, rosters have had a lot of changes. The Epsilon roster, most definitely. And you've got to take a look at this stuff. But then it's great to say that Millennium have these two best placings in terms of their events when American teams and European teams were there. But then you look at Millennium at I-60, and they were nothing compared to Epsilon. So it's very difficult to make those predictions, but we have to go off what we've previously seen. And this is an international event, not a local event, which was the one that Epsilon ended up winning. So those things come into consideration as well. And like you said, Paradox, Millennium have been out there for days. Epsilon only just landed a couple of days, I think it was yesterday, or a couple of days ago. So
do you think it makes a lot of difference being out there for an extra week?
Yeah.
I think, well, for the pure reason that I know I've seen Millennium in Pro 8s with Apathy, Crim 6, and all of those lots. So when they're not scrimming, they are Pro 8s as well. And they're playing against the best players in the entire world of Call of Duty.
Do you think a week can change a game, though? That's what I think. I mean, if it was out there longer...
EG changed theirs around in a couple hours, right?
No, I mean, but EG just clicked. It's different between, what I'm saying is, Millennium would have gone out there. They've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the most stable rosters. So they're going to have the way they play, you know what I mean? Are you going to be able to make that many tweaks in a week? Mindfreak went over was they over there for 3 weeks or something before it all started? 4 weeks? That to me is a longer time to have a boot camp to actually see a progression, you know what I mean? I'm just wondering if I'm not saying it isn't. It's just a general question. Do you think a week's long enough for a boot camp to make a big change? That's all.
I think it depends on, obviously, I think a week is enough if every single day of that week is used for getting guys on and scrimming and playing. Yeah. I think if you go for a week and it's only 2 of the days and the rest of the days your teammates are enjoying, the area and trying to socialise, having a bit of a laugh, and should we go to the pub tonight? Yeah, sure, Marky B. Let's go. Let's go have a couple of drinks. Screw scrims. I want to see what it's like in America and stuff like that. I do think, however, for our European players, I've seen a lot of tweets saying that European players can't stop talking about Chipotle and going there. So we might have a lot of European players come champs that they might just end up walking up onto the station a bit of help getting up there. Yeah, going to have a little bit of help going, but been Americanized. No offense, Paradox, to anything at all over there, but I'm never going to go into detail about that one and the whole European opinion on America. But moving on anyway to DP Quinn in the chat, who's had his own prediction, and he said E United first, Epsilon second, Millennium third, and Luminosity Gaming bumping out in fourth place, being the team that then will have to fight through relegation. So he's got the European boys, as the two that will qualify with E United, and Luminosity Gaming being the team that doesn't quite make it through. Hey, that's got every possibility to do that as well. Luminosity Gaming still really this year yet to prove great things. I mean, they have a few good series where they go off and look like the Luminosity Gaming we expect to see, but have they actually managed to maintain anything this year? Not a great deal at all. But anyway, guys, before we go any further, and obviously this is where all these teams are kind of heading towards. It's that Call of Duty Championships $2.5 million prize pool. And yes, your point is a bulldog because they have every possibility of making those online qualifiers, qualifiers, I should say, which like Gfinity, obviously they're grinding for their points, needing to fall into that bracket, and you see them playing PPs all the time. But let's talk about the location because everything got revealed going forward with what's happening with Call of Duty Champs. So it's going to be in Orlando, Florida, USA. It's at the Amway Center, home to the NBA team Orlando Magic. And it's going to be a 5-day event. Now, let's talk about that then for a real quick second, because normally we don't have 5-day events. We have a weekend events over the couple of, from the Friday to the Sunday. Group play starts on Friday, then your Saturday's kind of when your brackets begin, and then Sunday, obviously, Championship Sunday. So I understand with it being a massive event, but Tony, talk to me about players playing along a 5-day event. Your team's there for the weekend. You've got a 5-day event rather than a 3-day event. You've got 2 extra days to keep these little bastards in line.
Let's start off with the most important thing. I'm not sure if my liver can handle a 5-day event now. I'm getting older.
Pato sit there and say he's not drinking that weekend.
The thing is, he's got so much better. Like, I honestly don't think he would. I'm going to need to fly someone out as a drinking partner.
Go on, you're close.
Yeah,
I'm not that far away. So, hey.
Yeah, no, I'm going to need a drinking partner. But Americans can't drink neither. No offense.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that when I see you. I'll show you different.
No.
You're forgetting I've lived in America for a few months as well with the army. I understand the difference. You all drink light beer and your bars close about 12 o'clock.
I don't even like beer. I barely like beer, so.
Oh, we're alcoholics, mate.
You
know what I mean? Like, it's not good if you get knocked out, right?
Yeah.
It becomes really boring. LAN events, if you're not playing, ain't the greatest things in the world until the finals. The rest of it's pretty boring, you know what I mean? Once you've seen it all, it's like a really lame theme park.
I think that comes down to the event as well in terms of how well they are with the spectators. You know, like you can make the event pleasing if you do get knocked out. You know, how well is the event run to the point where spectators enjoy sitting around from.
You know what? Props to Insomnia for that. I think Insomnia like done pretty well considering how other events are going, and it's the first time they had an event for COD that big for I-60. I think they were pretty cool with it. You know what I mean? Even when there was a point when the security there were gonna make it so if you didn't have a weekend pass, if you walked outside, you couldn't come back in because of the timing, and we were still playing.
Yes.
And I know JD got stopped, and to be fair to Nick and that, the management, they were like, no, let them in, you know what I mean? The staff, the esports staff, they were really sound, and they were trying to get the people back in so they could still watch it and all of that. And as recent events have gone, like, props to them, I think they were pretty sound about everything, you know what I mean? And if it's like that, then it's all right. You don't want a load of Nazis there not letting you do anything or walk around or kicking you out of everywhere, because it just makes it a noise, you know what I mean?
People forget as well that when you do spend £200 for a team ticket, yes, you got knocked out in the first round, you're still there participating in the event. And they forget it's more than that, true, but they forget as well that without you purchasing that team ticket and the rest of the other teams, guess what? There'd be no event. Yeah. So they need to make sure that if anything, the players that buy the tickets are looked after at the greatest point.
And the owners.
and the owners, of course. And the casters. What? Make sure the casters are in there as well, thrown into that one. But quick correction, it's a $1.5 million prize pool. I kept saying 2.5 million, but I'm just looking to the future and really dreaming that it's up there in the big boy leagues. But 1.5 million, still the biggest Call of Duty prize pool that we've ever had in the Call of Duty history, and it just proves that Call of Duty is still advancing. And the interesting thing to think of as well is, not as far as I'm aware, nothing's been announced yet, but no celebrity guests been announced yet. I know we've talked about this before, Tony, but comparing to celebrity guests in game to Snoop Dogg and rappers performing at the event, what's the difference? Is that okay, or?
Yeah, that's cool because that adds to the spectacle. Like I said, if I ever won the lottery, I'd throw a LAN event and it'd be legendary. There'd be so much razzmatazz in that, you know what I mean? There'd be pyrotechnics, there'd be girls in bikinis, there'd be men in shorts, you know what I mean? Like bringing the teams down. As you come down to the thing, there'd be music playing. Everyone would have, like boxing, you know what I mean? Everyone would have their own music, and there'd be those cannon shooting shirts and beer into the crowd, you know what I mean? Shot girls going around, getting everyone drunk so they're all rowdy and that. Like, no, but like, well, why not? People like strip clubs.
You can imagine, like, on the side stations, there's just like a strip girl in the middle, just on the pole.
People like that.
You got a
know
poor
what I
guy
mean?
trying to clutch in a 1v1. You just have a stripper
I want
above
people
him.
to see a girl comes over 20 quid for like, fuck off, like seriously, come on.
That's it. We'll have no boobies out. You know what I mean? There'll be nothing that's inappropriate. But
Be a
it'll be,
no boobies out.
yeah, but it'd be close. You know what I mean? It'd be borderline. But that's what people like. So you know what I mean? And there'd just be stuff like comfy chairs, and everyone's made feel special. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, I think the problem with Insomnia, bless them, when they had the DJs and that is the people they were playing it to, right? Because I didn't go to that night, but apparently there was a lot of people just standing around. Like it was almost like an awkward school disco.
Yeah.
Right, and like I've got PC gamers here, and you know what I mean, but there's different types of people play different types of games, and I don't think necessarily the whole of the PC community, I'm not trying to blanket everyone, is the sort of people that would go for. But with Call of Duty, it's a bit like Gears of War. You give some alcohol and put someone on stage, and that everyone would go mental, you know what I mean, and enjoy themselves. So bringing in Snoop Dogg, I'd love that if I'm there all day long, you know what I mean, like.
Looking at last year, like during that concert, the place was packed. Like I know that wasn't part of the stream or everything; it happened afterwards, but it had a lot of people there. It was a really enjoyable thing too.
And I think it's just great for esports and Call of Duty as well that people want to be involved in this, and whether they're celebrities that are for this massive level, they want to get involved in events like this and help promote and
We should have Katy Perry there.
Yep.
Who else should be there? Who?
Obama.
Jennifer Lopez, Katy Perry.
Barack Obama.
I would love to see Obama.
What's wrong with you? You want six men to start off your story, and I'm saying like Katy Perry, Jennifer Lopez, and you're going to want Barack Obama.
Although it's in Florida, so I don't know if having Obama there would be the best situation. Florida tends to go conservative.
Imagine him and
breaking up.
That would be insane.
Right, but we can be there, but like I'm not going to get as built up about that.
Like,
well, he's not the president no more. You know what I mean? He's not my real dad. Your mic's breaking up. Well, for me, anyway. Yeah.
Can we do Michelle Keegan then? Can we agree on that?
Well, we can, but no one over there is going to know who she is.
True. Wait, Paradox, do you know who Michelle Keegan is? Nope. Oh, God. Education. Anyway.
You're about as good at picking guests as Johnny is.
Johnny, can you clip that? Just for your... Not for Twitter, just for your personal reference. Make sure you clip that. We'll put it in a little folder somewhere and just save it for a rainy day. But anyway, let's move on a little bit further then to... Actually, wait a minute. Before we move on, I just want to ask a really, really random question. Hold on. Who's winning champs this year?
Who's winning champs?
Yeah.
I have to make my decision now. Halfway into the GPL, who's making champs? Who's winning champs?
You know, I'm coming to you next, Tony, because you're thinking.
I already know who's winning it.
Dramatic.
See, Tony's going to say Bulldog.
Of course I am.
I'm going to say... Honestly, I'm thinking E-United.
Really?
I'm thinking E-United.
Deal with that much pressure?
Yeah. E-United or FaZe?
Okay, then. FaZe?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then.
Honestly,
Tony,
we might see a miracle run from EG at this point, too. Like, I don't know. It might be 2014 ghosts all over again.
At this point, you might as well just say Cloud9.
Nah.
No, that'll be
They
an
have some
interesting
work
story.
to do.
Hey, maybe it's fine.
Winning champs.
Maybe it's fine. They always win the last event.
I mean, he always goes big at the last event. Doesn't necessarily win it. I mean, knocked Octa Gaming out last year, so.
Yeah, true.
Good thing.
So, Tony, apart from Bulldog, then. I have to say apart from Bulldog because apart from Bulldog, who would you say?
I just feel sorry for everyone else. Like I'm literally going to lace everyone's drinks and everything, so they're all unconscious.
I know exactly what he was about to say.
Fnatic, isn't it?
Yep. See, there it is.
Does that team in your eyes have the capability to win that much kind of money?
Why not?
Okay.
And that's the thing, right? I honestly believe at this level, right? See how the luck went against them the other day, right? Say they turn up to that event and the luck goes for them, right? And that can make the difference, right? I'd say they're a top 8 team maybe when they're playing well, right? So that puts them in the quarterfinals, for example, right? So they only need a couple of lucky games and they're there, you know what I mean? And you see how much luck can go against you. and they just need the luck. I think anyone's got a chance, right? At that level, you can't go into it thinking you don't. And as you see, literally the weekend with the way the teams went, it's hard to predict. Like, no one would have had evil geniuses for playing like they played. Nobody. Yeah. If that had been champs and they'd have been playing like that, they could have took it, and no one would have thought that going into the event. You know what I mean? So this is what you got to see. Everything ain't as black and white as people think it is. And I think that there's a lot of belief in that team. I think Wolfskins is playing out of his skin, and if all of them play well, then why not? They've got as much chance as anyone else. You know what I mean?
Me personally, I'm going to throw out there. I think this is the year for Optic.
Oh, right, just to make a change.
Yeah.
Ooh,
it would be about time, right?
It would be about time. I think this is the year. I think this is the game. I think this is the game. I think this is the team. I think, I know it's that kind of like team that we always say every single year, they're going to win champs, they're going to win champs, going to win champs, going to win champs. But I don't know. I feel like this may be the year this time. I just think that team looks extremely strong. Their only opponent really being United at this point in time. And imagine that for a grand final, Paradox. United Optic game in champs finals.
My thing with that is that would be a sick grand final because it just continues the story of those two teams throughout the year. But still, you think when you have a phase that's like down in the dumps, just like kind of how they were this past weekend, they are a team that can just light it. I don't know what happens. That reminds me of
Paradox. That also reminds me of Envious and what they did.
Yeah.
Envious have the possibility to make Jacob a 3-time world champion.
That's always waiting, and I feel like Envy's going to be a strong contender in the second half of the year. That team that's always just waiting in the wings, right behind there, that's having a good run around champs time, but not necessarily breaking the ceiling. That's normally the team that comes out and somehow wins everything, with the exception of like complexity, right? Even Farico, they won one event going into champs, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll have to wait and see for that one then. Champs still quite away from this time. Now we've got the Season 2 to come as well and Season 2 relegations to happen. So before we do that, let's start to talk about some Rostermania changes within the scene. Now we saw it was Orbit and Red Reserve. They kind of came together and ended up just working under Red Reserve and merging the two organizations. Well, the same thing's happening in the amateur scene. OBN Esports have merged with Radiant Esports. So bringing their management teams on and two designers making them it just says hashtag we are Radiant. So it looks like they're taking on the guys from the OBN Esports team, brought them in, and Radiant kind of growing their team, growing their scene, trying to build a bigger brand for the amateur scene. A couple of other things have been going down as well. You had Omnis pick up their brand new roster. That's going to be Sway, Stead, Hesh, and Complex. That team will be competing at EGL. And then you've also got some other things to talk about as well. Now, there was an organization I don't know if you guys have ever heard of before called Lucendi Gaming.
Lucendi, yeah, I know.
Lucendi, yeah, that's great.
Heard of this team before.
Okay, so Lucendi is actually
Dreams and that played for him. That's what he took Dreams out of.
It's an amateur UK organisation, and they are actually participating this year in the CWL Poland, which is quite interesting to just kind of add that one out there. So they were saying to me, to kind of see if we could get that talking about. So CWL Poland as well, by the way. Apparently, I've had people tell me that that's a really easy event to get some money at. I've heard.
Well, the team that won it, like, everyone was like, oh, what's this? Because no one heard about it, right? And it happened.
Do you know about CWL Poland, by the way, Paradox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard about it.
He would, though, wouldn't he?
I didn't pay that much attention to it, but I did hear about it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I forgot to, like, check back in and stuff on it.
Right, so the first time it happened, normal people didn't know about it, right? Except for Paradox, that knows everything. And the team that won it, everyone was like, right, let's see what these are like. And nothing against them, but Jack, you'd have probably beat them, bro.
Yes! Beating somebody in Call of Duty. Yeah! Getting in there. But yeah, they're dipping into the kind of CWL Poland scene and seeing what they can do over there. Yeah, good luck to them and seeing what they can do. Also, team, and I'm going to butcher this organization name. Now,
I love it with names like this.
Akix GG. That's what I'm going to go with. It's going to have picked up. I don't know why I said all that. It's going to have picked up Cod Q, Jetpacker Cronus, Lovely.
I love how bad you are with names like.
Plentiful 12. Okay, first things first, have a word with the organisation and the team about the player names, because any casters aren't going to be able to read those out. Jetpacker Cronus. This guy's just merged everything he uses in IW when he plays. I'm surprised it's not Jetpacker Cronus Scuff and my Astro headset as his PSN name. He's just brought his land kit.
What's happened to you? You're normally the nice one.
Jetpack Acronis, what?
What's wrong with
Is
that?
is he sponsored?
Right, so you got iPlentiful, Jetpack Acronis,
Okay, pronounce
Contribute.
the third one.
Right, he's just put letters together. But apart from him, right, there's nothing
It's
wrong
just
with the other
grabbed the
ones.
controller, just
It
gone,
might be Lavely.
butted the controller, and whatever
Yeah,
came
could
up, it's gone with. Or Microsoft's turned around and predicted a name for him. And he's gone with
Do you know what? If you played the old games, if you put that in, it used to give you unlimited ammo.
that. That's a cheat code, that is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Apart
anyway,
from that, the rest is sad.
not completely disrespecting the entire names of the individual players there. Congratulations to
Sad.
the on picking up the roster. Hopefully, we'll see those guys participating at EGL maybe, and maybe some of the events in the future as well. Like I-61 was another event that got confirmed as well. So I-61 maybe having a Call of Duty there. So we might see those guys participating there as well.
Hope we do.
But while we're talking about tournaments and while we're talking about all the things in terms of competitive Call of Duty, it's time for us to talk about the Talk Show Tournament Tuesday and what we saw go down in the recent one that happened. It was back to Infinite Warfare 4v4, and it was me and Paradox that had the chance to cast that one. But before we talk about it anymore, we've got a clip to show you from what we saw at the most recent tournament.
Able to pick up 3 and get time in the hill. You're looking at Trotty right now, already secured the scare, but it looks like they want to push. Hold up, everybody. All right, that's my fault again. Yeah, just bear with me on that. All right.
Gentlemen,
I have an idea. I have an idea. Here's what I'm gonna do. All right. Everyone likes EG, right? Cool.
That dude's name was lovely.
So here's what we're gonna do. Johnny's gonna hate me. Johnny's gonna hate me for this too. Watch.
Lovely. How has he managed to spell lovely from that?
See, I told you it's lovely.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Here. Now. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong. The wrong thing again.
It looks quite good.
Wait. Hold up. Okay. Here's the clip with EG in the background. Able to pick up 3 and get time in the hill. You're looking at Trotty right now. Already secured the scare, but it looks like they want to push up and get control of these market stairs. Spotted 2 for easy points. Going to make their way into the bedroom, and there they go. Right into the gun of Trotty. There's 2 more. Has secured the Trinity rocket as well, but look at where easy points are spawning. They still have the favorable spawn, but Trotty's going to make sure they have the height advantage. Picked up 1, fully streaked out. Jordy Boys have worked their way all the way back into this game and have now taken the lead.
Going into the Cathedral next as well with Trotty having these streaks. It's going to be so important.
No, Trotty!
As well. Trotty somehow get that kill, and it's 8-2 for him. He's got 1 more player towards back market. Will he make it 9? Yes, he will. And his team are completely in control of this one, Paradox. I don't know how he won that gunfight.
I don't know what in the world. It just seems like, okay, you have 1 in hotel. It's like, all right, Charlie Streak's going to in here. No. Gets the drop shot and picks it up. Has another one around Cathedral. Somehow manages that as well. And there you go. There's 10 in a row. Make it almost 11. Gets the assist on another. The Jordy Boys are starting to run a train here on retaliation. And look at Mimo. Pushed all the way out. Has 2 coming up the stairs. Picks up another. Meanwhile, Trotty still won't go down. 11 in a row. And it looks like Deep Treats is poised to take out D-Man. D-Man comes right around the corner. The battle of the D's, and D-Man comes out on top in that one.
The highest streak we've ever had in a talk show tournament was 15. Will Trotty be able to top that one? He's behind enemy lines at the minute. It's the final 10 seconds. The rotations has gone over. He's overlapped on the Trinity rocket. He's on a 13 streak. Here comes the bombardment. He's going to call it in for intel as well, and he's going to call out all those players pushing from lower street. Like I said, the rotations already happened. There's 14 kills in a row for Trotty. He makes it 15 kills in a row. I can't come off him. I know the hill's rotated. We should probably be talking about what's going on, but finally.
Hey, see? I didn't screw it up that bad. All right? You got to see the
No, it's fine. I was actually just paying attention to the stream, actually watching those clips back, and Trotty is all I can say, Paradox.
Trotty is absolutely insane.
Well, he went and set the record for the biggest kill streak we've ever had in a competitive play in our talk show tournament Tuesday. 15 kills from him. Insane performance. Going on into the finals, though, Jordy Boys weren't the team that ended up making it all that way through, though, did they, Paradox? I mean, you know, Jordy Boys was a team that ended up beating E4, the new E4 roster, which was the old original Zealous roster, so they knocked them out to make it through to the semi-final stage. It didn't end up going the way that Jordy Boys would have expected. I thought maybe they would have been a team that would have definitely made the finals, having beaten E4. They didn't end up making the finals, so they ended up going out in the semi-finals to the team that ended up going on and winning the tournament. So, I mean, for you, Paradox, anything that in the final that kind of stood out for you?
Not really. I mean, just the tournament as a whole was probably the best one we've had so far on that Tuesday, because just the level of competition between all the teams. We had like two amazing comebacks and hard points. We had uplinks that went down to the wire. We had search and destroys on breakout, and we had some search and destroys that were really interesting with the back and forth between both of the teams. So I feel like that one was the most sort of even that we had, and we still had those standout plays, right? We still had the 15 streak. There were like a bunch more that I can't even remember, because that we could just make an entire video with clips from that tournament in and of itself.
Well, do you remember the hardpoint comeback we had in Retaliation hardpoint as well?
Man.
The comeback was absolutely insane. But guys, if you are wondering what we're talking about and how exciting this stuff is and how many comebacks we had and all these people getting kill streaks and going off, you can be involved in these tournaments. These tournaments are completely free to enter, and they have prize pools available for them as well. But it's your turn now to completely have all the power in the chat to vote for what you want the next tournament to be. So, is it Call of Duty Black Ops 3? Is it Black Ops 2? Is it Infinite Warfare, or is it Modern Warfare Remastered? Is it 4v4, 3v3, or 2v2? And is it Search and Destroy only, or is it variant for all of the game modes in it? Let us know in the chat. Go ahead now to give us the game mode, give us the how many players you want, 4v4, 3v3, and whether it's Search and Destroy or variant. And we're going to pick towards the end of this show. Coming towards the end of it now, we'll pick who's going to be the winner for our next tournament on the following Tuesday. But yeah, guys, you can get involved with this then. You can get involved, you can have your vote, and then you get to actually participate in the tournament of your choice for those prize pools. Those tournaments are streamed and casted as well on the Tuesdays. But going forward then, Paradox, and you know, this whole GPL and everything that's going on, who's the fourth and remaining group after we've got this one?
That's Optic Gaming. So you have Optic Gaming, Red Reserve, Enigma 6, and...
So, I'm just going to throw a really quick question out there. From that group then, because we've said, we've got two teams already in relegations.
Elevate, there we go.
We've got two teams, yeah, Elevate, that's the last team. So we've got two teams already in relegations.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our third team that we think maybe might be Epsilon. They've got the players' capability pushing up. Really quickly, who do you reckon our fourth team will be?
See, I don't want to say it, but right now it looks like Elevate's not looking that good right now.
So it looks like basically most of the relegations will be filled with European teams.
I mean, I feel like if E6 don't turn up that weekend, which they're a team that normally plays up to their competition, so I can't necessarily put them in that spot, but it's possible. I just don't feel like it's not the easiest choice for me. I feel like right now I want to see Elevate perform better.
What about you, Tony? Optic Gaming, E6, Elevate, and last team again, Paradox?
Red Reserve.
Red Reserve.
Red Reserve, yeah.
Why did you not think I'd know? I understand what teams are there as well. It's just you that forget, Jack.
I wanted to reiterate, it sounds cooler.
I reckon E6 are going to finish bottom. Well, Elevate, if they show up, they're good, you know what I mean? It's just what Elevate's going to be there.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm hoping that any issues they did have, they've worked through, because they've been getting a little bit longer now. I love reading the bits, as you know. So I really hope that they do well. Yeah. I think the best they're going to do is finish third. I don't think they're going to come higher than Optic and Red Reserve. But yeah, so hopefully they're going to come third. Hopefully it all clicks. They've got good players, you know what I mean? It's 4 good players. This is what we've got to remember. It hasn't been good for them so far, but all it takes is for it to click, you know what I mean? It hadn't been good for EG, and it clicked, and they went on a good run. So,
well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything we've talked about for the GPL today, the Call of Duty Championships announcement, the Rostermania changes within the amateur scene, and everything else that was going on in the Call of Duty scene. But we've had our answer come through, and it's also from the chat and for everybody else that voted through on Twitter as well, whether you tweeted us, whether you DM'd us. It's actually going to be 2v2 Infinite Warfare Search and Destroy only tournament for the Tuesday. So the first time we're having 2v2, and also it's going to be Search and Destroy only as well. So that one will be streamed and casted, whoever we can get for that one, to kick it off on the Tuesday. That one's been voted by you guys, so thank you to everybody that did tune in and vote. But like I said, it has come towards the end of the show for us now, and it's time for us to go. So Paradox, thank you very much for coming on the show and being a part with us once again.
Always a pleasure, of course.
And Tony, it's been a pleasure having you. Even though
I know,
this,
mate.
even though
This
this
has been the
time,
most mental show tonight.
it's been interesting, and it's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah,
But
you could say
I've also
that maybe.
realised this weekend, not this weekend, this show, that apparently I'm as mean as Tony.
Oh,
And
It was
it,
me
hurt,
today, yeah.
it hurts me to say that. Because Tony's a
all that
big.
streaming's made you mean, man.
He's got an ego, isn't he? That's what it is.
Yeah, see?
And on that note, before Tony.
That's why he's above us on the graphics. See? Look
Thank
at this.
you, guys. Thank you. Bye.